Good morning. And thank you so much for gathering here today to honor, remember, and celebrate the life of Charles Bruce Freas, who was born May 22nd, 1943, and left this life on August 25th of this year. I'm Reverend Millie Phillips, an affiliated community minister here at San Francisco UU, and I will be facilitating this gathering. Charlie was a longtime member of this congregation who maintained ties to our community despite living away from San Francisco in recent years. Throughout today's program, you will hear remembrances from Charlie's family and from a member of our congregation's men's group, in which Charlie remained an active participant. Others are invited to share short reflections at the reception following the service, where there'll be an open mic for that purpose. We will hear some of Charlie's favorite musical pieces and join in some words from his Buddhist practice, which helped sustain his spirit during a long, debilitating illness. A life well lived is one that on its inevitable passing will be remembered with fondness, respect, admiration, and above all, love. As you will hear, Charlie was a caring, thoughtful person, known for his patience, perseverance, and problem-solving skills. As is our tradition in Unitarian Universalism, let us start by lighting a chalice, a symbol of liberation adopted by our faith. I like to think of it as representing the divine spark in all of us, a light that does not go out when we die, but is carried and rekindled by all who remember us in love and in friendship, and who strive to continue our legacies of justice and care. I will light the chalice, and then we will enter into a moment of prayer and meditation. Let us be present to the Spirit of life, always within and among us. May we be grateful for the gifts Charlie shared and for cherished memories. May we be inspired by his example of kindness and service. Please join in a few moments of silent reflection, or if so moved, a quiet prayer. I will ring the gong after a moment of silence. Thank you. We'll now have some more music.
You can shed tears that he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back. Or you can open your eyes and see all that he's left. Your heart can be very empty because you can't see him. Or you can be filled with the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he is gone. Or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back. Or you can do what he would want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on.
Let the river rock you like a cradle. Climb to the treetops, child, if you're able. Let your hands tie a knot across the table. Come and touch the things you cannot feel. And close your fingertips and fly where I can't hold you. Let the sun rain fall and let the dewy clouds enfold you. And maybe you can sing to me the words I just told you. If all the things you feel ain't what they sing, then don't mind me, 'cause I ain't nothing.
Thank you so much, Susan Freas, Charlie's wife. Kirk Ronaldson will present the eulogy. Will you please come forward, Kirk?
Good morning, everyone. We were just talking about light. I didn't have a chance to do that. I've been ordered around here. But I'll take the show from here. This is not about me, of course. My middle name is Chandler. Charlie was a bringer of light as a Chandler with the light show. We had a very good light show. Thank you so much. We had a light show that was pretty amazing with the blobs and the movies and the slide projectors and everything. It was going wild. Our best show was for Velvet Underground with Lou Reed, if anybody remembers them. Probably everyone in the room. Charlie Freas, C.B. Freas, was a good man. He didn't have really a mean bone in his body. As we all do, he had projects. Family life is full, and others have many projects. He had projects circling around in his mind, like planets. He could be very deeply in thought, so deep that he seemed worlds away. And you could go, Charlie, Earth to Charlie, come in please, over. And when he would come through, he would just be on to another project, as was mentioned earlier. He would always return and attach himself to other projects and family. He taught us lessons in life, though. We will teach others lessons to help growth and progress in this world. He built, repaired, and built again. He struggled, as we all do at times. Charlie's struggle in this life is over. And to a new life and opportunities to grow. As we come closer to death in this life, we find courage and faith. Courage to enter the afterlife, as our faith teaches us he will. Brian Weiss, a psychiatrist who's head of the psychology department at University of Miami, wrote a book called Many Lives, Many Masters, where he studied regressive hypnotics. And he interviewed his subjects under hypnosis where time and again voices would come from this person that were not that person's voice at all, and would explain that we have many lives, and those who we are closest to in this life, we continue to see over time as we try to improve ourselves and our relationships. This is important to us in life. As our role in the past, we will meet each other again in another life, in another time. Look for him in the future. He'll be a player of a different role in life to come.
In honor of the Buddhist practice that was so central to Charlie's later years, Susan and I will share his favorite metta of loving kindness. Susan will read one line at a time, and I will encourage you all to repeat along with me, or else actually the reverse. I will read the line and then we'll all repeat. That's correct, right? Okay. So I'll read the line and please join me in repeating. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May I be whole. Enjoy some more music. We would like to invite Charlie's sons, Jeremy and Adam Freas, to share reflections about their family, their father, and what he meant to them. And first will be Jeremy.
Yeah, so as I was thinking about Dad and all the things that he shared with me, besides his unlimited mechanical ingenuity and capabilities, which came from a vast body of knowledge that he shared. A few of those things I harvested eventually were, I like to refer to them as Chuck's pearls of wisdom. Often I remember him telling me that, by the way, at the time I was gifted these pearls, I was convinced they were 100% grade A bullshit, so. One of the first ones I always heard was construction, Jay. Construction, not destruction. but it's a gift, Dad. I'm good at it. And then I eventually came to find that actually there would have been a career in demolition. That's still part of construction. Yeah, there were many, but these are just a few of them. What? That's not fair. Well, Jeremy, life's not fair. What? That is, again, 100% bullshit. I always saw him helping people, like, unending. If he wasn't at work, he was home, working on our car, or cars, or the house. And if not, he's either helping a neighbor or another friend, or maybe somebody he didn't even know, repairing their car. And I would say, Dad, you don't take any time for yourself. Why do you help all these people? And he said, because I can. And I thought about that, like, okay, I get it. I think I get it. But don't you get tired of helping people? He said, sure, I get tired. I said, well, then what? And he said, well, I help somebody else. And of course, like most everyone, we find ourselves becoming just like our parents, even though we swore we weren't going to. And probably number one pearl of all time. Think before you act. Think before you act. You don't know your own strength. But we were just playing tag. I didn't mean to break his collarbone. I mean, and but I think I finally got him on that one, because I do know my own strength, and it's you that didn't know your strength, because the strength of your love. Because I'm going to keep showing and sharing that love. That's what I'm going to do for you.
All right. Good afternoon. How's everybody? So thinking about this moment of what to share, I immediately think about my role as an educator. And anytime I get to present or speak on any topic, whether it's research I've done or just any related topic, especially ones that are very important, those are the moments you never have enough time to share. And I feel like this is that. There's something about gathering a community and having time with each other in this moment of reflection that I think balances out the reality that we won't be able to cover all the amazing things that my dad brought into this world and shared with us, and we had the chance to share with him in different ways. So with that, a few reflections and thoughts. One, being the eclectic person he is, one of those strands of love for music, i.e. as you hear music throughout today, was passed on, right? And I was lucky enough to have that thread influence me in so many different ways as an individual. And so I thought it fitting to start what I had to share, referencing a musical piece. So there's a current jazz artist named Robert Glasper, and he has a song called Tribute, where I think it's a pastor that he's connected to shares a bit. And so I'm going to kind of adjust it or remix it a bit to connect with this moment today in remembrance of my father. Alpha 43, Omega 2022, dash. And now we come today because neither of these dates are what brings us here today. The 43 or the 22. It's the dash. The dash is what gathers us here today. Not that he was born, not that he passed, but because of the dash. He lived. I mean, he really lived. At any moment in his trajectory in time, and this is where I'll pivot off, that dash is vibrant. And how he lived it in his own unique pass through this timeline that we enjoy our dash and engage our dash, it was always a moment of teaching, intentional or not, right? And so as you know, my father, he wasn't a man of many words in the sense of, overly conversational, unless you tapped into a thing that he thrived in, which was almost anything, right? I was going to mention this later, where he eventually would get banned playing the game, and this is when it kind of first came out, and it was pretty popular. Trivial Pursuit, thank you. Trivial Pursuit. This man got outlawed from Trivial Pursuit because he knew too damn much. Literally any topic. Yeah, literally any topic. And I remember that as a child, just my parents would get together with friends and they dragged me along, and so, I just happened to be in earshot and hear just the frustration and almost embarrassment, like my mom just like, this guy just was not have an answer, right?
One or two pieces of pie for everybody on the board. He's done. He's making his way to the center.
Right. And speaks to the dash, right? So as we think about the dash, as he was a father, a mentor, a thinker, a scholar, a passionate sports supporter, so that little NBA commercial that popped in was almost too fitting. The only difference is he wasn't here to scream to some direction of the moment of how he engaged sports. That's right. And I don't think any refs made it today as a result of his experiences in that dash. A caring human being, which was, I think, the common denominator at any point in his life, whether you knew him doing light shows with special brownies, or if you knew him in South Florida as he pursued a new chapter in life, bringing myself into the world, returning to school, or if you knew him in his ventures in California, all of those moments, the common denominator was his passion to help. And so I think about that dash, and I think about, and this I think was one of the, silver linings in his battle with Parkinson's, was the slowing of his reality, but also provided a moment and opportunity for a slowing of conversations and a moment for engagement. And so I hope you all have that moment with folks you love, as you have time to recognize those moments and tap into those amazing stories and histories that are carried with them, that make their dash so vibrant, which made my father's that. So I think about those amazing moments as he talked about his undergraduate experience at Columbia University in New York. The idea of meeting Malcolm X on campus and being able to shake his hand just baffles me. Having friends in the Weather Underground is pretty surreal. Living on a research vessel in the ocean is nothing I would ever do, but amazes me nonetheless. Working on and repairing, as you heard so multiple times, this guy works on almost anything that ticks. So working on motorcycles and cars and buildings and any other thing, septic tanks and all that kind of stuff. Taking a motorcycle that he helped rebuild, riding it from New England into Canada, and finding an abandoned building to sleep in, and then ride home. And then I think about the more tangible moments for myself and hearing about those profound stories of life and how he lived. And then I think about how I experienced those with him. So stopping his car mid-intersection, picking up a washer or an Allen wrench in the middle of that busy intersection with said children in back seat. simultaneously helping random people with car troubles, personally seeing him run into the street to attend to a child who was hit by a car, and being that last moment to connect and get her to safety and get her the support she needed. That was happenstance, but I think timely, and a reflection of how he operated and navigated the world. To putting a Porsche engine inside a Volkswagen van and revving up the engine at 2 a.m, that just to test it out, that is, not just to like show off, but just testing it out to make sure it works. That's right. Although I can imagine, maybe you can ask my mom afterwards of how the neighbors felt about that. To consistently being an ear to engage and offer perspective on anything in life. I think these moments had me reflect and realize that I had a father that never shied away of offering insight and guidance on life, on the layers and complexity of life, how the histories that we've traveled through in this world have impacted and shaped the realities of the lives that we live and the lives we coexist with, and how no matter where you're at in that trajectory, you can always find moments to help and make a difference for other people. And so those are things that I aim to carry on. If I can take the great moments of what he's offered to me as a son, as a father. I'm working on not yelling at the refs, I promise. But the unconditional love and willingness to be open and guide and offer any insight and support unconditionally, I hope to pass on to my children. And so lastly, I'm going to end being an educator. Well, one, as we were sitting here, I was looking at this picture and I thought, that picture is it's like him looking at the next project, like the way his eyes are kind of really intensely dialed in, right? I was like, is he looking at us as, you know, as we're a project, right? Every day we work and try to evolve. And that was a big piece that I also learned just observing in his trajectory. It was always working to become a better person. And so I think he looks at us as the project, right? How are we going to move on from this moment and continue to push to become something better for not only ourselves, but our community and the world around us? And with that, as I said, I want to end on a thought by an amazing Brazilian educator named Paulo Freire, who talked about how, and he did a lot of work around literacy, but he talked about the idea that when there is a definition or concept that's been provided to the world, when we as readers read that definition and engage that definition, we now become co-authors of said definition because we've added our own life experiences to that understanding. So we add new complexities, we elevate said definition or concept. So Charlie did that. He added to our definitions. He elevated to our understanding of the world. And so how are we going to take those understandings and the things that we've elevated collectively and continue on to do so on his behalf? Thank you.
So we will now hear a reflection from Larry Danos. He's a member of the San Francisco UU Men's Group and a friend of Charlie's. Larry, please come forward.
Ever since he became a member of the church. And I knew him in his first days at the church, but I have to admit that we were not real close friends, but we saw each other intermittently all the years that he was here. And he was someone I always looked forward to seeing again. And what I've heard here already today, I know why that I liked him very much. So, we met at my house, actually. Maybe I better explain that a little bit. I was the person here at the church. We had a 9:30 or 9 o'clock Sunday morning forum in the big room over here in the church, and I was the one who took care of the food. And I was at the food table, and there was this guy who was coming there maybe on a regular basis. His name was Frankie. And so he would come to the table, and he and I would get in a conversation. And I could tell he needed help getting to know people. And then I lived in a house that had 5 units, and we had a 4th of July. All the people in the house had a 4th of July party in the backyard. We did that every once in a while, and that was coming up. That was in 2005. And so I told Frankie, if you like, you can come over to our house for the 4th of July. And he said, well, can I bring a friend? And I said, sure. So he brought Charlie. And that's where I met Charlie. And then I was in the men's group and started seeing him regularly there. And this is a kind of a history I'm just going to run through very kind of quickly, maybe ad-lib a little bit, but I have some notes here in front of me to read as well. So we met on Saturday mornings, and he became a member of the church, and he showed up at other church events. And I believe I remember seeing him at a celebration at a member's home somewhere during that time. And we became, at least good acquaintances to talk to each other, and at different events that we would show up at. And there are other members here who will speak to him more on a personal level at the reception. So I'm going to just give my historical background, and they can fill in the gaps from there. So that's kind of the idea here. So in the men's group, what I do remember is that he sat quietly through the discussions that we had, and we had a check-in where everybody checked in, and his was things that we talked about, things we were concerned about and what we were doing. And Charlie seemed to be an interesting person to me through that. And then he would sit quietly through we had a designated topic for the day, and he would sit pretty quietly until it came time to talk, and then he would let you know. He somehow let us know that it was his turn. And when he talked, he was very articulate, is the word that I can't. He was very. I guess that's the correct word. And there's another word I'm trying to think of, but I can't really think of it right now. He wouldn't try to monopolize on the situation or anything, but when he spoke, we listened. He was very intelligent. He was not critical of anyone, and he just had he had an opinion. He put it out there with energy that you felt, and that's how I remember him in the men's group. Just every time repeating this over and over again, and Charlie had this way of expressing himself. Well, and I know he worked at the airport, and he told us a little bit about that as an engineer. He spoke of the inner workings of the building that he took care of, so I was kind of engrossed in that a little bit. And so then I was surprised on one occasion in the men's group when Charlie showed up and revealed to us that he was suffering from Parkinson's. And I believe that was sometime between 2005 and 2010, somewhere in that frame. I'm having trouble putting dates on things. And at later meetings, he started displaying the typical shaking associated with Parkinson's. and his speech was beginning to be affected as well. But he kept coming. And I moved to East Bay from the city in 2010, so my part in the men's group kind of became less of a, I was not there as frequently as I was before. So I didn't see him for off and on but I would see him rarely when I did come to the city and did attend the men's group meetings. But anyway, in just this past year, COVID came and affected all of us. So things were kind of, we were looking for things to do to get through this era of the COVID virus. So, but anyway, he heroically showed up this year virtually at the men's group by Zoom from Stockton. And we were all amazed at that. And we're all, we're very heartened by it as well. And he was in a bed with white sheets, and he sat there as a member of the group, like he always did. His wife, Susie, I'm sure helped him set this all up, which we're very grateful for. It was a treat for all of us. Let's see, so he was welcome, and he was made known that he always did, and he made it known that like he always did when he wanted to speak. And I can't really describe that actually, but we knew that he wanted to speak. There was some gestures and things that kind of carried over. So, but Parkinson had claimed his voice, and it was difficult to decipher what he was telling us. And that didn't matter much to anyone. We still enjoyed having him there and having him speaking, because you could tell it was still this energy, was still Charlie's energy. So anyway, it was just good to have him there, and then he attended several more meetings. And then later, a bit later this year, a contingency from the group, Ralph Meckier, will be at the reception. Marvin, who is not here today, and I visited him in Stockton at the care home, and we were served a very nice lunch by Susie and the workers there at the caretaker's home there. And we were out on the back patio for lunch, and it was in the rear of the house on a sunny day, and it was just a fantastic visit. So that's my overall picture I want you to see of Charlie right now, and there will be other members of the group that will say more about him personally. So thank you very much, and he will definitely be missed here.
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds, it's by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright. Saying, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be alright.
On behalf of the Freas family and of Charlie's many friends in our congregation and in this room, thank you once again for coming together to honor, remember, and celebrate the life of Charlie Freas, a life well lived. We extinguish our chalice, but not the light Charlie has passed on to us. May we keep it lit in our hearts and in our deeds. After I extinguish the chalice, I would invite you to please stay for the reception in the Thomas Starr King room, where, as you have been told, there is an open mic if you would like to make additional comments. And let us end this service with one of Charlie's favorite songs, John Lennon's Imagine, and then Charlie's grandson, Jonathan, will ring our singing bowl a few times in memory of his grandfather.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, or brotherhood